The bill passed out of the House back in April, and while they had overwhelming bipartisan support, more upstate representatives voted no than any other in any region in the state of South Carolina. So I reached out to all 35 of the upstate representatives to find out why they voted the way they did on the hate crime bill.
Very much a no-brainer for me.
I voted for it.
I voted in favor of this. I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Does that say anything about the upstate?
What it really says is that we have a great independent group of legislators from the upstate that are really representing their constituents well.
I voted yes on the hate crimes bill.
I voted against the bill.
Tell me why you voted no.
We're essentially creating some classes of victims that are more worthy of justice than others.
Tell me why you voted yes.
The hate crimes bill sends a message to South Carolinians and to people across the country and the world that South Carolina is not a place where you can commit a violent crime because of someone's religion, race, or gender and not pay a price.
We're going to ask a judge to make a determination based on what someone was thinking or feeling or believed or was motivated by. Then we are asking that judge to render a ruling based on, and a jury as well, based on what that person was thinking. And that's just not something we can know beyond all reasonable doubt.
You can't have situations where people are being targeted for the color of their skin or for their sexual orientation.
The House has sent a signal that hate will not be tolerated in South Carolina.
It becomes a cancer in our community.
If you are thinking about attempting to hurt others motivated by hate, this bill will be waiting on you.
The Senate never took it up this session, but they could choose to vote on it next year. And if not then, well, it's back to the drawing board. It's a situation that no family wants to be in. And the folks I spoke to today say they just want to make sure that this doesn't happen to another child. Many are mourning this smiling little boy, Jacob Bailey Mutis. His aunt says he loved anything with wheels.
Riding his red tricycle, he'd try to steer it, but he didn't know how to steer. He was too young. So then Mikey got that thing where you could steer it for him, but he still thinks he's doing it. And then he got a little older and he got that yellow truck. Spartanburg police say the 3-year-old was found dead in a hot car earlier this month. Police say the foster parent had not noticed that Jacob had not left the car for daycare like her other children. All 3 of these women tell WYFF News 4 they're related to the boy's biological father, and they say they were trying to adopt Jacob.
And we've had multiple family members. Savannah over there was trying to get him. We were trying to get him, Nancy, Robert, and here we are. DSS thought they knew what was best for the kid. South Carolina's Department of Social Services sent WYFF4 this statement after the boy's death. The Department of Social Services is aware of the child fatality in Spartanburg County and is conducting our own investigation as well as coordinating with local law enforcement. DSS staff mourns the tragic loss of life of this child along with the child's family. Jonathan Costner says he grew up with his cousin, Michael, Jacob's biological father. He says Michael passed away in April. And we wanted to make sure that he was with family, and when he didn't go immediately with his grandparents and he wasn't going with his aunt and uncle, I knew there was an issue, and we kind of stepped in. We wanted to be there in case they couldn't get him, but we never got the opportunity to get him.
Jonathan says he was told by a caseworker that Jacob had been in and out of foster care for the last 18 months. He and his wife, Krista, say they started paperwork, got fingerprinted, and sent calls and emails to DSS, trying to move things forward. They tell me they're frustrated with the process and say they can't help but wonder, could things have been different for Jakey? Where there's smoke, there's a giant structure fire. The repair shop, Car Guts Inc. in Blacksburg, went up in flames Wednesday afternoon.
Main thing is the heat. We're battling the heat right now. Water supply is the main issue. Personnel during the daytime, that's one of the biggest issues. So people getting off work now, they're coming to help.
A lot of these area fire departments are made up of volunteers, so they've had to pool resources to fight this fire. Something else they've had to pool, water, a lot of it.
These firefighters needed water too. This time, it was the local church communities that came to the rescue.
Because look at what they're doing for us. Look what they always do for us. In times of trouble, we run away from it, they run towards it.
The fire's still under investigation. Crews will be on scene through the night, watching for hot spots.
In Blacksburg, Renee Wunderlich, WYFF News 4. Here in South Carolina, part of that Phase 1B group, individuals who have sickle cell anemia.
We knew we had to do it for her. We had to.
Several patients at the sickle cell clinic at Prisma Health in Greenville say they were skeptical of the coronavirus vaccine, but things changed after COVID-19 complications claimed the life of their friend, Toyanita Jones. She died in February, 33 years old, the same age as LaShonda Patterson.
Just imagine someone you know that has the same condition that we have, and she's trying to fight off COVID on top of sickle cell and then other complications that she endured during the time. And then now she's not with us today. That kind of, forced me to feel that I have to go get this because I don't want to end up where my friend is now.
Sickle cell anemia is a genetic disease disproportionately found in Black families. And with COVID-19 hitting those communities especially hard, experts at the clinic encourage anyone with sickle cell to work with their doctor on a plan to get vaccinated.
As it relates to the vaccine and for sickle cell patients, is that there's already so many layers that are stacked up against sickle cell patients. It's imperative to actually get the vaccine.
The first 911 call was made in 1968. Today, I'm making this call through the new E911 system through my cell phone.
Greenville County 911, what is the location of the emergency?
Greenville County has a new way to answer a 911 call. The program is called Radius Plus. It's made by the company Rapid Deploy. And unlike the old way of relying off of cell towers to estimate where a call is coming from, this pinpoints an emergency location to the caller's cell phone.
It's going to make things faster because we can get responders to the correct location immediately. We don't have to rely on the call taker, and we have a lot of folks that come in to Greenville from out of town. They don't know where they are. We don't have to rely on them to be able to tell us where they are.
The pilot project started out of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office back in April, then launched in October. Now there are 8 different agencies in Greenville County where a 911 call can be answered. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a call.
They could initiate a text in the caller's native language. The call taker doesn't have to worry about finding out what that language is.
The cost, about $280,000 a year.
The entire product for all the 8 agencies is paid for with 911 fees, those same fees that you pay for on your cell phone. This is a direct benefit that you're getting from those 911 fees. Everything that we're doing is something that citizens have paid for, so you're seeing a return on the investment.
Greenville County is the first in the state to have this new technology, and while some policies and training is still being developed, first responders are excited to have this new tool to help people faster than ever. In Greenville, Renee Wunderlich, WYFF News 4. The woman I met tells me she wants to share her story so others can learn about what she went through. We do want to take this time to warn you that some of the topics may be difficult to hear, especially if you have a history of trauma.
She really loves to lick. It's so cute.
Sierra Burns loves her rescue kitten, Ophelia, Opie for short.
Yeah, you're gonna get annoyed with this very quickly.
She always wanted a pet, but her childhood was challenging.
I grew up watching my dad choke my mother 3 separate times.
Sierra says it was her best friend's family who first took her in. She was placed in South Carolina's foster care system when she was 16.
My parents were the ones who were mentally just abusing me. And because of that, I felt like, I wasn't worth anything. And no one saw those signs. No one tried to dig deeper. And I want people to dig deeper because I should have been rescued a lot sooner than I was. I started therapy as soon as I turned 16. Therapy.
Now 19 years old, she never had an adoptive family, nor has she been reunited with her birth parents. Sierra is a student at Winthrop University. She's studying psychology with a minor in social work. She also works at the Greenville County Group Home, where she stayed for some time as a teenager. She's currently under voluntary placement, a type of housing assistance from DSS. No longer a kid in the foster system, still working to become a fully independent adult.
Their goal was family reunification, making us better, making us go to family therapy, but we didn't go to family therapy, and no one was there to really make us and hold us accountable. And so it was just months and different caseworkers going in and out, being involved in the case. And it was really just, we listened to the parents because they're the authority figures, but no one really talked to me.
WYFF News 4 Investigates found the majority of reunifications in South Carolina happen within the first 8 months after a child enters the system. While there have been 704 reunifications this year, here in South Carolina, there are more than 4,000 children in foster care. Most have been in the system longer than 8 months. A third of the children in the state's foster system are teens. Sierra hopes putting a face to these numbers will help move the foster system forward to better help older kids, and really all children, who find themselves needing help.
Foster kids are not troubled kids. They are not problem kids. They may have more trauma to deal with and a lot to process, but that doesn't mean that they're not a kid.
Reunifications dropped significantly through 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Find that breakdown in this story on the Investigates page of WYFF4.com. There's also a list of resources and links to where you can find help if you or someone you care about is in an unsafe family situation. In Greenville, Renee Wunderlich, WYFF News 4.
Happy now because you're in your shoe? You're out of your shoes?
At the Ligon house, dinner can mean a little chaos.
Somebody got her!
And a lot of kids. But for Mom Crystal and Dad John,
We thank you for many blessings.
everyone has a seat at the table.
Right now we have 5 kids from 15 to 15 months.
It's been that way since the very start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We were sitting at a restaurant on the very day that the governor shut down our state, and we had just gotten a call for a 7-day-old, 8-day-old baby in the NICU.
This little girl is now 15 months old. The Ligons are in the process of adopting both her and her foster brother, but there are backlogs.
We have probably about one more hearing.
The pandemic slowed that down because court closed for a while, then it reopened.
Yeah.
And they were behind, and then court closed again.
Over the years, the Ligons have fostered 26 children, newborns to 16 years old. They say their faith called on them, and their community supported them, especially when safety restrictions made caring for 5 kids, including 2 foster babies, extra challenging. Until recently, doctors' visits only allowed 1 parent, 1 child at a time.
There were times during the pandemic where, it was like we were passing ships in the night, just trying to keep everything afloat.
WYFF News 4 Investigates broke down state foster care system data. We found the number of children in the system fell for 8 months in a row before increasing 4 of the last 5 months. Right now, there are more than 4,000 kids in foster care in the state. Around 1,400 of those kids are in the upstate, the most from any region. The Ligons hope the pandemic hasn't burnt out too many state child welfare workers.
But I think I just wish there was a way to encourage them more, because we could sit here and we could find all kinds of problems with the department. That is, it's broken. It's a broken system because foster care is not supposed to happen. Kids are not supposed to be removed from their families. And so we're trying to figure out how to navigate keeping kids safe, but also keeping families together.
There are several organizations who partner with the Department of Social Services to help families get involved with fostering. We have links to more resources in our story on the Investigates page of WYFF4.com. In Greenville, Renee Wunderlich, WYFF News 4. Courts backlogged, caseworkers burning out, kids stuck in the system.
When you put all these things together, it's made for a rough 15 months.
Those rough 15 months saw adoptions grind to a halt. They saw the number of family reunifications plummet and the number of children in foster care dip, only to return to pre-pandemic levels now.
You know, in the upstate, we have a lot of children coming into foster care.
DSS Director Michael Leach said the reasons children entering foster care never went away.
There's poverty, right? There's drug addiction, there's domestic violence, and neglect.
Especially in the upstate. WYFF News 4 Investigates found more children entered foster care in Greenville County in 2020 because of neglect than in any other county. Greenville County also had the most cases of parental drug abuse in the state. Anderson County saw more children enter the system because of parental alcohol abuse than any other county, and Spartanburg County trailed only Florence County in family instability cases.
So the calls declined, and we saw a lot of that happen because of the school closures in that sort of March, April, May of 2020. A primary referral source for the department is education, is school districts.
The pandemic hit the state's caseworkers hard.
Their roles are very similar to those of first responders because they are responding to emergent circumstances and risking their own safeties on a daily basis.
Deputy State Director of Child Welfare Karen Bryan explains caseworkers are using a hybrid system now. Some are virtual, some in-person visits, depending on the family situation and the nature of the child's case. Bryan says it's unclear what the foster system may look like in the future.
Because the reality of it is we've all changed. None of us are who we were in 2019 pre-pandemic. And so I don't think that it's fair for us to expect that we and those that we're serving are going to show up in the same way.
In the meantime, some caseworkers are leaving.
I think our main challenge is staff turnover. And we've seen a significant increase in turnover since we brought our staff back into the office a couple of months ago. We've seen increased caseloads due to the staff turnover, but this is and that has been impacted by COVID. But this is something that's been going on for 10 plus years.
Increasing caseloads are not a new problem, but Leach believes the system won't move forward until the issue is addressed. Renee Wunderlich, WYFF News 4.
Music might soothe the soul, and for some here in Greenville, music therapy might do a lot more.
Music therapy is very similar to occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy.
There are around 9,000 certified music therapists in the U.S., but Megan Donnells is one of the few here in the upstate. Licensed music therapy isn't recognized right now in South Carolina. It is in other states. But for some families in our region, this type of therapy is considered more than just music to their ears.
My twin daughters are 13 years old and were diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.
Emma and Sarah have been working with Megan for 2 years. Their mom says this sort of therapy reaches the girls in unique and effective ways.
They speak in sentences of about 7 to 10 words in length. However, each of them can sing songs of dozens of words in succession. So I hear language coming out of them when they're singing that I never hear them speak in sentences.
Now Megan also works with clients at Golden Strip, a Greenville music studio. Since the pandemic, she's found ways to safely help her clients still use the magic of music to learn, heal, and accomplish their goals.
Clients that I work with are children and adults diagnosed with special needs. They have a diagnosis and most of them are immunocompromised. And so being able to take those extra precautions, and I wear masks in sessions and check temperatures and make sure that any of the homes that I go into or any of the clients that come to see me are symptom-free and that they feel safe in the environment.
Golden Strip is raising money for a special scholarship so that kids who want to learn don't have to pay to play. In Greenville, Renee Wunderlich, WYFF News 4.